Okay, mate. Nathan Jones, 1-1 draw at home to Exeter City today. Point gained or 2 dropped?
No, definitely 2 dropped. I mean, look, Exeter are a good side, but we have to win these games. You know, with our ultimate goal, we have to win these games, and that's the thing. Very good performance first half. Thought we controlled the game. Needed a bit more cutting edge. Needed a bit more about us, but we didn't quite have that. Then we started slowly second half, which is something we don't normally do, but we did, and that let them into it, and they had a couple of chances, and then finally scored from a counter attack. And then we kind of came into it. Then we made the changes. We got a goal back. We missed chances. I mean, we've missed a fair few chances second half to have won the game. So that's the frustrating thing. But you know, it went like a bit of like a basketball game at the end to end. But it was 2 sides going at each other, and I said we showed a lot of character to come back and to win the game, to draw the game. But look, I'm disappointed because I think it's 2 points dropped.
With your team selection, you brought Jack Senior back in at left back, obviously for Dan Potts, who was concussed on Tuesday night. Jonathan Smith came into midfield, and Jack Marriott took from his first start for a little while. How do you think Jack did?
Which Jack?
Jack Marriott.
He looked a bit rusty, to be fair. He wasn't as fluent as he was, and I said that's why we took him off. We felt we needed a bit more of an impact, and Isaac and Ollie Palmer gave us that little bit of an impact, to be fair to him. It's just, look, we mix stuff up because Isaac's been tired. Danny's needs a rest, to be fair, but it's been difficult to rest a player like Danny Houghton. But they need that kind of rest. So we just freshened it up. Look, we put out a good side. We had a good performance first half. I was just disappointed we didn't get the first goal because we don't tend to lose when we do that. But overall, it's a good point. It's a decent side, but you know, it's ended a week on a less productive note than we would have liked.
So Jack Marriott had the best chance really the first half with his header from a wonderful cross from Stephen O'Donnell.
Yeah, look, and we identified certain things that we could think we didn't do them well enough first half, but that was one thing that came from some of the stuff that we had identified. It's just, look, we controlled the game. We had no problem. We had dominated possession. We had got into real good areas without really killing them, and in the second half we got into even better areas without killing people, you know, without really putting them to the sword. We were right to the byline, and they pulled one back and scored from the byline. We got there 3 times later on in the second half, and nothing came of it, and that's the frustrating thing, really.
Having gone a goal behind, you call your substitutes game changers. Ollie Palmer had an immense impact, and he had a couple of great chances first off, and then he's whipped the ball in for that man again, Danny Hilton, to head in the equaliser.
Yeah, and look, he has a desire about him, and he has a desire to want to do well for this football club, and that's what I love about him. He wants to play. He showed commitment to get here. He wants to play. He wants to work hard. He goes on. He's keen. He's looking at me all the time to go on, and look, he was fantastic, and I said I'm really pleased for him.
Danny Hilton, you mentioned a couple of minutes ago resting him. I can't imagine him ever letting you rest him. He scored the goal at one end. He's heading it away in our own 6-yard box as well. I mean, is there anything more we can say about Danny Hilton this season?
Well, no. Look, he's fantastic. So important to us. I mean, look, he needed a rest. He was jaded. We were thinking about can we get him off, and I'm thinking you can't get him off and stuff. So I'm glad I didn't, because he scored a great goal, and I said we want to look at that to him. But as I said, he was altered with the impact of Ollie Palmer, and he's done that a few times this year. So you know, he's been vital for us.
And credit as well. It shows the positivity in your substitutions that you left the 3 of them up there. Isaac, Danny and Ollie trying to win the game.
Well, we want to win games, because I said we've drawn too many games this season. That's what we've done, and it's usually been when teams have nicked a goal against us against the run of play, and that's the frustrating thing for us. That's a frustrating thing. But you know, that's it. Look, we're still well in the hunt. It's a big game Tuesday, one we really need to take advantage of, and if we do that, look, it's a wonderful position to be in.
Exactly. Tuesday night away at Newport. It's our game in hand on the sides around us. Stevenage have obviously gone above us, but they've beaten Portsmouth, so it drags them back. Everything to play for, isn't it?
You know, everything. Everyone's beating everyone who's playing. You know, it's through in a real good run of form in terms of wins and so on, and that's what we need to make sure that we're doing now. we've got some big games coming up, but we've got a game in hand which we need to take advantage of, and then we'll see where we are. Then we're all thinking we've got 8 games to play for, massive end to the season. So no, look, it's a good position.
And I can't let you go without a mention for Alan Sheehan. It looked as if he was playing in pain for probably all but 2 minutes of the second half, I think. Was it his shoulder? Or?
Yeah, just his shoulder sort of popped, and look, Alan's an old warhorse and things, and how he goes about his work, and I said he was excellent, he really was, and look, he battled on. We know what we get from him, so he was excellent. Cheers.
Thanks, Nathan.
Thanks very much. Cheers, fellas. Cheers.